Welcome to a quick tutorial on how to write a hypothesis. You probably watched our last couple of videos on what a research question is and how to write a research question. Now it's time to learn how to answer that research question by writing your hypotheses. So, what are hypotheses? After countless hours of reviewing the literature, you've come up with your research question. Now it's time to make an educated guess about the answer to that research question. This is the essence of a hypothesis. Now you might be asking, what's the difference between a null and an alternative hypothesis? Let's dig into what each one of those are. The null hypothesis is kind of what we would expect if there's nothing special about our sample. You can think of the null as meaning nothing. This might mean that there is no difference between groups or no relationship between variables. The wording of the hypothesis is tailored towards a different statistical analysis, but all of them have that keyword no or nothing. So nothing significant outside of what we would expect. The alternative hypothesis is your claim or your prediction of what you think is going to happen based on the literature that you reviewed. This is your proposed answer to that research question that you developed. These statements are indicated with significant results. The examples on the screen pair up pretty nicely with the null hypotheses from the last slide. Feel free to rewind, pause, and write down some hypothesis pairs. We're going to practice doing this on some examples. So during these examples, make sure you pause the video, write down your answer, and then resume to see how you did. So here is our first scenario. You think your class did better than expected on an exam. Historically, the average for this exam is a 78%. Your class of 25 students had an average of 81%. Pause this video and write what you think a null hypothesis would be for this scenario. Here, the null hypothesis might say that your class's score is not different than the historical average. You can think of this as saying that your class upholds the status quo. Pause the video again, and this time write the alternative hypothesis. So in this case, our alternative hypothesis could be that your class did better than the historical average. Don't get too hung up on the wording of the hypotheses. Yours don't have to be worded exactly how mine are. As long as they are communicating the same ideas and have language consistent with the hypothesis test being conducted, you're on the right track. Let's look at another example. Research shows that people's political attitudes are heavily influenced by what they are exposed to on social media. You want to determine if this same influence is present in people's attitudes about local businesses. This scenario closely resembles what you might be looking at when you're developing your own research questions. Take a moment to pause this video and come up with what you feel is a good null and alternative hypothesis for this scenario. The null hypothesis here could say that attitudes about local businesses are not influenced by what people see on social media. A good alternative to this might be that what is shared about a local business on social media does influence people's attitudes about that business. Again, your statements do not have to be the same as mine as long as the ideas are the same. Notice my null hypothesis and my alternative hypothesis don't say word for word the exact same thing. There's no rule that says that your alternative and your null hypotheses have to use the same wording. It's okay to be a little creative and change up the wording a little bit as long as the message is still the same and you're not changing the concepts that you're discussing. Thank you for watching this video on how to write your hypotheses. If you want additional assistance in this process, reach out to us in the Academic Success Center, and a coach would be happy to assist you.